Hi guys, in this video I'll be doing exercise 1A number 2 from chapter 1 in Pearson A-lvl C2 textbook. Right, it's all got to do with factorization and simplifying fractions. So first of all, when you see a question like this, you know that you're going to have to factorize it to get two brackets both in the numerator and in the denominator. Right, so we don't know whether it's a plus or a negative yet. We know that because that is a negative, the signs are going to be different there, and because it's a positive there, the signs are going to be the same at the bottom, and they're both going to be negative signs. So by now you need to know how to factorize. We look at getting the factors of 12, which is 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And if we subtract them, we need to get a plus 1. So that is the combination that we're working with. Because that is a positive sign, the bigger number will go in front of the positive sign, and the 3 will go with the negative. Right, at the bottom we've got 18, and we're going to start by writing down the factors of 18, which is 1 times 18 and 2 times 9 and 3 times 6, and we're going to have to we're going to have to add them to get to a 9, and so 3 plus 6 will give us 9, and it's going to be two negatives, so it will be negative 3 and negative 6, because x times 6 is negative 6x, and negative 3x will give you negative 9x, and then if we multiply them out, 3 times 6 will give us 18 for the positive 18 at the end. Right, then it works out beautifully because you've got two brackets that are the same, x minus 3, they cancel out, and your final answer is x plus 4 over x minus 6. Right, for number J, they've given us one expression at the top and two brackets at the bottom. So we're going to have to factorize the one at the top. But you see that there's now a coefficient in front of the variable at the top. So the factorization is going to look a little bit different. You need to know the factors of 2, which is just 2 and 1, and the factors of 6, which is 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. So there's your 4 factors of 6. Now we have to multiply and add and subtract those sets with one another to eventually get to the number 7. Right, so what we're going to have to do is 2 times 6 is 12, minus 1 will not get us nowhere close to that. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 3 will give us 7. So we're going to use this set of factors and that set of factors. Right, now we are going to go on to our next step and write out our two brackets. The brackets at the bottom in the denominator stay exactly the same. And we're going to have a 2x and an x in the brackets at the top. Both of the signs are going to be the same, and they are both going to be positive signs. Right. And now we need to know that we work with 3 and 2. So 2 times 3 will give us 6, plus 2 will not get us 7. So what we need is we need the 2 and the 2 to be multiplied with one another. So that is why the 2 will go there. 2 times 2 is 4, and then the 3 on this side. So it will give you 4x plus 3x will give you 7x. Right, there's two brackets that are exactly the same, the x plus 2 and the x plus 2, so they cancel out, and your final answer is 2x plus 3 divided by x minus 5. Moving on to number K, similar situation what we had in number J. We're going to have to factorize it into two brackets. The brackets at the bottom will stay exactly the same, right? And we need to look at the factors. We've got a 2 times 1 for 2, and we've got a 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6 for the 18. So we know that we're going to have we were going to work with 2 and 1, so we know that our brackets at the top is going to be 2x and x. Because that is a negative, we know that we're going to have a positive and a negative. Oops, we're not sure yet whether it's going to be at which side, so we're just going to leave that for now. Right, so we've got a 2 and a 1, and we now have to subtract them to give us 9. So you're going to have to play around with it a little bit. 2 times 18, it will definitely not be that one, because you're getting closer to 36 then. 2 times 9 is 18, minus 4 will give us 14. What about 2 times 2 is 4, minus 8, so it won't be that one. So we will definitely be working with this one. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 3 will give us 9. So we're going to work with that. So 2 times 6. So we need to put the 6 in this one. 2 times 6, and that's going to be your positive. 2 times 6 is plus 12, and then this one needs to be a negative 3. Right. We've got 2 brackets that are exactly the same. The x plus 6, they cancel out, and we are left with a 2x minus 3 and an x plus 1 at the bottom. Right. Moving on to number L. Similar situation again. We know that we want 2 brackets at the top. We want the bottom ones to be exactly the same. Right, and we're going to have to factorize. We look at the 3. There's only one set of factors for 3, and that's 1 times 3. So we know that we're going to have a 3x in one and an x in the other one. And then for 2, we only have a 2 and a 1. So we know that we're going to have a 2 and a 1. But now, which goes where? We need to know that if we add them together, we are going to get a negative 7. So 3 times 1 and 2 times 1 will just give us 5 when we add them together. But when we have 3 times 2, it gives us 6. And 1 times 1 gives us 1. So 6 plus 1 will give us the 7 that we require. Because it's a positive, we know that both of these are going to be a negative sign inside the brackets. And we know that we're going to have to multiply the 3 and the 2 with one another. So the 2 will be on this side and the 1 will be on that side. Right. Then we've got 2 perfectly equal brackets. Right. And our final answer is then x minus 2 over x plus 2.